Look, we all fit.
Hey.
Welcome to Red Couch Review. We just saw Hard Eyes.
Hard
Steven.
I'm John, you know me. I run the Cantaloupe Cat's horror movie podcast. Hard Eyes is directed by Josh Ruben. It stars Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding. I'd say it's like a 90s, 2000s kind of campy horror movie. Kind of a post-Scream vibe. Very romantic. Almost like, I Know What You Did Last Summer or Urban Legends. Like something like kind of old school.
In the beginning, it was giving me Devil Wears Prada vibe.
The first intro sequence that dove right into the slasher and kind of set up the character, I thought really well. If it's gonna be like this the entire time. But I thought the pacing ended up being really well, where it took you in and out of the character development and the murder mystery of it all.
It was fast in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what kind of killing? What kind of movie is this?
Yeah. Yeah, the opening scene set up what type of vibe of the movie was going to be, because we were basically at a winery taking at first you see this person kind of proposing to someone, but then he gets a phone call and it turns out he's just trying to film it and he's kind of a jerk and he's yelling at the cameraman and stuff.
Right.
So you could tell right away that it was kind of like a satire. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really fun. It was fun the whole time. Some of the acting was a little awkward here and there. You gotta get on the rhythm. Because the rhythm of it is kind of elevated acting. I don't know how else to say it.
It does show you really early that this is not to be taken so seriously.
Not at all.
Anything can happen. You can tell the writers in the writing room and they're like, what if this happens? And then they just put it in there. Just randomly put all these scenarios that wouldn't normally happen. Coincidence.
I like the killer's mask. It's a very nice mask.
I really like seeing through the hard eye.
Yeah, it's like a leather mask with these glass eyes in it that glow when the lights go out. The hard eyes come on. So
very easy to recognize.
Yeah.
Within a story, people are already dressing up as hard eyes, as if it's everybody knows the killer.
Right. It had been a few years that this killer has been killing on Valentine's
couples.
Day. Yeah.
It's got a city setting. I think it takes place in Seattle. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. A lot of these type of movies take place in suburban settings. You're running around and you can't really get to the person and there's very few houses. So it's just kind of more of a populated area.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because if it is in a suburb in somewhere in the middle of
Scream.
nowhere.
Scream was in the suburbs.
Or cabins. Yeah. But this is it's such a crowded city.
Right.
So many people running around. I like that there are moments with whimsical carnival, merry-go-round, outdoor movie playing, and it gives you that, are we going to a carnival now? Are you gonna,
the drive-through.
Yeah, pop up in the middle of nowhere and we don't really question it. It's little elements that we like to see that's fun, romantic.
There were 3 writers on it. One of the writers that I recognized is Christopher Landon, who wrote and directed the Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You movies. So that kind of vibe is definitely in this, where it's more about the relationships between people and about romance and about getting over your past trauma than it's about the actual killings themselves. The killings happening in the background of another story, which is very similar to his other movies. I recommend those movies. Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You are very good. They're very funny.
Yeah, it's actually not a real horror. It's almost half of it's a rom-com. And
it's mostly a rom-com and shows up occasionally.
Okay, how old do you think this movie would be appropriate?
I mean, it's pretty.
Grader would be whoa, but it's not
the gore is pretty brutal. There was a family behind us that brought their kids, so there were people in the theater that were 9 and 10. You do what you want to do. If you think if you want that kind of stuff floating around your kid's head, that's fine.
Those are rated.
Definitely are. I mean, that first kill was crazy.
The sound effects of it.
It's silly though.
It's silly.
Yeah, it's what? I was thinking, oh no, the whole movie is going to be killing. I'm going to have nightmare. But then when the first kill happened, I was like,
a little put off by the end for a second. But
by the way, spoiler everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. It's interesting. It's an interesting choice.
I know what you mean. There was a bummer part when I thought, oh, they're turning it into this type of movie. But it's like Buffy the Vampires.
That's actually, I kind of like that there was full closure in in the course of them. Like you weren't left
Yeah, that's true.
wondering.
That's
They
true.
kind of teased the end,
Right.
and then they went into like a last scene or two. So I was like, okay, this is wrapping up. But then
they fooled me. I cried a little bit. Sometimes we're like, oh, it's like when Allie was like alone or like thinking about her life choices, and I was like, oh, is this kind of movie okay? Then okay, back to the silliness and the horror. It is fun. I would highly recommend seeing it. I was on Valentine's Day, and
You got to get on the rhythm.
Right.
I haven't seen a movie. I don't think they've made a movie with this particular style of like dialogue and goofiness in a while. Like Devil Wears Prada is a good pull. It does have that kind of fast, kind of like young, kind of silly thing, and it doesn't like overemphasize social media like a movie like this normally would.
Yeah.
Normally in a movie with this rhythm, everyone would be like, oh my god, you know what I mean?
A
So
little bit of that.
a little
in the
bit,
beginning,
but not too much.
Just to show you it's like in the current timeline.
I like that it's not a cynical movie. You can tell the director likes the human race. Like a lot of serial killer movies, you kind of get the idea that the writer wants to punish the people that never went out with him. And this is more like the opposite of that. It kind of feels more hopeful. So, I mean, that's cool.
It
That's
has
cool.
like optimism.
Yeah, exactly. It reminded me of Scream. Yeah, Scream 2 maybe. One of the later ones that's more campy than the first one. And the first one was campy, but it was also more brutal. And that series got more silly as it went along. Although Mason Gooding, who's in this movie as the main character, he's one of the ensemble in Scream 5 and 6, which are the newer Screams with Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. So maybe he's like a Scream King instead of a Scream Queen.
Does it affect how you receive the movie, knowing that he was in other
I didn't really
part
think about the other ones. I only saw him in those in the Scream ones. Yeah, it has that like not to take it seriously, young people kind of living life with their new jobs, and you know, it's very
self-aware.
Yeah,
very self-aware.
Yeah, it was very
It
self-aware.
mentioned Esther Perel, and we both laughed. Esther
Yeah,
Perel's
that was
like
when I
this
knew I liked the movie.
relationship
As
coach.
soon as they mentioned Esther Perel, I was like, whoever wrote this is like kind of tuned into like YouTube culture too and understands things. So.
Like how they bump heads, like they just like also show really, really silly
Very,
stuff
very goofy.
for you to think, oh, this is like almost
Sometimes
kids.
it was like Fools Rush In, or like one of those types. And then they mentioned like how to, 10 things I hate about you in the dialogue.
Yeah, Love Action. They
Love
had a lot
Act-
of it. They had a lot of it.
So they like are like
references. Yeah.
exactly. You're right. Yeah, like they mentioned a couple
there
of
was
movie
another-
titles,
Yeah.
and the kills were brutal. It wasn't like just a rom-com with like the camera cutting away. Like one guy, some of the kills
I
were
think the
pretty
most brutal
Friday the 13th-esque.
was
type
already
kills.
like in the trailer. If you watched the trailer. But it did not take away from
Trailer
the
doesn't
movie.
spoil anything because it's not really about what it's about. You know what I mean?
That's true.
If you were like rating it in like between slasher type films,
Yeah.
how does it relate to other kind of like
I think-
slasher style?
It didn't kill one person at a time. You know, usually like a big group and then they all like die to like the last 3 or 2 or what. It didn't follow that formula.
It's most
Killed
like
random people.
it's most like Scream because in a lot of slasher movies, you're meant to hate all the kids and you're getting some kind of thrill out of them being killed because they're a bunch of jerks and they're like mistreating people or they're like in like the Friday the 13th or Halloween movies, you're getting punished for having sex. So the only way to get out of those movies is to be a virgin. This is more like Scream, where all the characters are likable, like Dewey and Courtney Cox's character and all of them. So you kind of want to see them survive. And that's kind of like how this movie is. It's not one of the ones where it's a bunch of miserable asshole teenagers getting picked off.
Sure.
So you don't even really know the people who got killed for this. They're actually just kind of random strangers.
Yeah. For a little bit, I thought the hard-eyed killer is almost metaphoric. Like love found them, like they're afraid, the fear for real love. Did it make sense to you that at the end when it was revealed that was the intention or the motivation for the killing? Do we need to think about it? Is it not that serious?
Once you find out who the killers are, don't think about how they could go to all these other cities and do this because they're supposed to be working on the night of. Don't like if you start to like think about how it's possible that it's them, it's not really possible. You know what I mean? Like it's not really. I don't think it's possible.
Okay.
So
I see. Yeah.
you know, like the way they set it up, it was whoever the killer is, something horrible happened in a relationship after, or they got cheated on, or they got devastated, and they were taking revenge on all the lovers.
Right.
And then it just turns out that wasn't it at all. It was kind of, it's just like their kink to kill people.
Their kink, yeah.
And I was like, what doesn't make
Taylor
any...
to Steven, and then
Yeah.
you typed
Yeah.
back, you were like...
Because I was in the trailer, it was like
one of
the
the
Cupid of kink.
Yes.
Oh, that was in the
It's
trailer?
like Cupid with
the
a
Cupid
kink.
of kink. Cupid
think-
with a kink or something.
Yeah.
I think I missed that trailer that you
So
just...
they even told us.
I saw like
Right
a
from the
teaser that
beginning.
was a little earlier
Yeah.
than that. So.
Huh.
Yeah, I like the name of the hard eyes, and you know, that's kind of like a metaphor when someone's like so in love they can't see, they have hard eyes. It's like a cartoon character gets the hard eyes when they're like Bugs Bunny sees the female bunny, he's like dun dun dun, you know, like. So I like the hard eyes killer, like someone who's so in love with love. Look who it is! It's Mauricio.
Get a little lower because the frame is just out.
We're doing a.
Hello everyone. Wonderful. You do it another episode.
We're doing a
So
movie
far.
review
Oh
for
my
Hard
Lord.
Eyes because we just saw Hard Eyes.
Who was it? I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's like a very silly, campy horror movie, like Scream, like back to like the 90s,
Right.
late 90s.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
Oh,
you know the
it's
Scream
fun.
movies?
Yes.
Yeah, so like that.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
that
silly,
sounds good.
but like very brutal kills, but like very silly too.
All right.
Romance, kind of like if The Devil Wears Prada had like a killer in it.
Okay. Oh, that sounds really good.
Oh,
Hey,
I
man.
man.
As you can see, we go here a lot.
Yeah, everyone knows you guys. That's great.
My favorite part was when they were in the room together, and then she was trying to hide the dildo, and then and then like he was in the closet, and she threw it in his face, so he got hit in the head with a dildo.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
like, that's like my style. Like that's
Yeah,
really
it's like
funny.
a
very silly.
mannequin shaped person in the room that
Yeah.
stressed me out.
Oh yeah, like
They're
the
like a
boxer
little, yeah, the
guy.
mannequin was like standing there.
I kind of knew early on when she said I have this, and he said a metal straw is not a weapon, that it would end up being a
Oh
weapon.
yeah, oh yeah. What's your favorite part or anything that jumps out that you remember?
I really enjoyed the entire like pacing of it and how they like would bring you through these scenes and really develop the romance and make it funny, and then it would like kind of cut and the perfect time. Like I thought I was gonna get like overexposed
Right.
to the
Then
jump
the-
scare,
the
the
tone
slashing,
changed.
but it strung me along like kind of perfectly the entire time where you would get re-comfortable into it, and then it would come back to
Many
the jump
times,
and anxiety,
actually.
and I thought the pacing went really well.
Yeah, tight editing. Whoever
agree.
edited the movie there was no fat on the bone at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll definitely see it again. Just now that we're not guessing anymore, which would fun, right? Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade this movie?
I would give it a 9.
Whoa!
Yeah, I think for like what it's trying to do, it did it like very well. You
I
know?
did think it early in the beginning, oh, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I give it like a perfect score. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
next.
you're thinking.
Yeah, you go next.
Okay, I wow at you, but because I give the brutalist 9, but pretty high. I know 8.5 out of 10, which is really hard for me, and I think it was successful. I just don't want to compare it to the brutalist,
Right.
which is like a really epic masterpiece. But
I think you have to compare it to like what it is, what it's trying to do. And
Yeah.
It's within its genre. It's
Within its
really
genre.
successful.
Right.
In its genre, yeah.
Yes, John.
I'd say like 7.5
Okay.
because I'm not doing it within its genre. I'm doing it as just a movie.
Yes.
But it's really fun, and I feel like regardless of how brutal it is true. Like younger people could watch this, and it spends a lot more time on romantic character development than it does on like being brutal and scary.
Yeah.
But it had moments of being scary too. But it was also very like campy. So
Yes.
it's like if you're scared of Scream, you'll be scared of this, you know?
It's
So
nothing
it's not like
it's not like a
it's
quiet
not like
place
Saw or
something.
anything.
Yeah,
It's not like
exactly.
depressing and like brutal and like sadistic. It's not sadistic.
Yeah,
It's not like pain
Sure.
for pain's sake.
Sure.
Sure.
Sometimes
that's
when you
good.
leave a horror movie, you feel like so sad about humanity.
Yeah, there are a couple of horror movies this year actually that when I left I was like, that was great and I don't feel great. You know? Like The Substance is
Yeah.
like a masterpiece, but
I
like you
think
had to
they-
kind of sit there after it for a little bit. Heretic, same thing. But yeah, I'd say 7.5. It took me like 10 minutes to get into the rhythm of the way the dialogue was approached at first because of how like elevated it was. Like everyone in that room, in that company she worked for and stuff was so like elevated. I was almost like, these are bad actors.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah, so you gotta get on the
On
rhythm.
purpose,
yeah.
though.
And then when the cops show
It's
up, they're like,
romance.
yeah. I'm like, these people are all like,
It's stereotypical,
being like overly whatever it is.
bosses, cops,
But you just
yeah.
gotta get in that. So,
Yeah.
At the end, like
Yeah.
ambulance worker was very mean and like, it's like, oh, I gotta get
Right,
off
right, gotta
work.
get off,
Come
yeah,
back
okay.
in.
oh
I think that wasn't
exactly.
being like self-aware, but something like, all right, we gotta wrap this up. Like, we gotta be under 2 hours, you know, kind of thing.
Well, I'll say once you get in the rhythm, you realize that because it's a rom-com, that's a rom-com rhythm.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the rhythm of a rom-com. The guy at the Starbucks going, oh, you should move along, we got customers. Like,
Yeah.
all of that kind of, them
Yes.
bumping heads twice, and he gets a
Right.
nosebleed.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
that
all
was
part of it.
Introducing the blood leader.
Yeah. Yeah. Go see it. Enjoy it. Especially on Valentine's Day. Like,
Yeah.
Valentine's Day's coming this week. I think it's like, this is the time of the year to see a movie like this.
Yeah, it's more of a Valentine's Day movie than it is a horror movie, honestly. Like, it makes
Yeah,
more sense for it to come
totally.
out now than, like, say, around Halloween.
For sure.
Because the vibe of it is very hard-eyed, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's like this.